might not know too much historical stuff when it comes to the events in this movie, I do know that Timothée Chalamet is in a brand new Netflix movie, so let's check it out. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to a brand new movie review. Today I'm going to be discussing Netflix's brand new period piece, The King, which stars Timothée Chalamet as Hal, a wayward prince and the heir to the English throne. And now as he is becoming into his own and becoming a young king, he must navigate the palace, the politics, and the war that his father has left behind, and some of the emotional strings from his past life. This is a movie that I was very much looking forward to. It's from the director of The Rover. It stars Timothée Chalamet, Robert Pattinson, Joel Edgerton, Thomas Mackenzie. It has a phenomenal cast in there. And Outlaw King last year, while I didn't think it lived up to everything that I wanted it to be, I still enjoyed it for the most part, but I was hoping that this period piece this year around, seems like Netflix is doing one every single year now, was gonna be the one that really struck my heart. And while I can say this, is that this film did strike a chord with me, and I thought this film was brutal, but also epic at times, I think it is a good watch, and I wish that I would have been able to see this in theaters, because a lot of the movie in its whole entirety deserve to be seen in the theaters. Before I get any further into this review, guys, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you guys are new here. I do tons of early movie reviews on a daily basis over here, talk tons of geeky content, and I want to discuss them with you guys down below in the comments. So also make sure to let me know down below, are you guys excited for this movie? Are you not? Let's discuss it. Right off the cuff, let's start with the performances in this film. Timothée Chalamet is phenomenal in this movie. I've always thought he was a great actor. I actually think he should have won for Call Me By Your Name just a couple years ago for that performance, but when it comes down to The King, I think he is one of the main reasons that this film is so strong. It's his dedication, it's his ferociousness that he brings to this role, but it's also his sensitivity that this character contains within himself, while also trying to be strong-willed when he has to be. That is what Chalamet balances so perfectly when it comes into the role of the king. If it wasn't for just Timothée Chalamet and the embodiment that he brings to this character, I don't know how strong this film would have brought, because he is one of the main layers that brings about the emotion in this film. Speaking of emotional arcs, when we go down to Sir John, portrayed by Joel Edgerton, his main advisor, that is one of my favorite dynamics of this whole year, is their relationship that they have with one another. Personally, for me, I think Joel Edgerton actually gives one of the strongest supporting performances of the year. I love what Edgerton does with this role. It feels very embodiment of who he should be, and the friendship that he has with Chalamet, while at the same time this kind of father-son dynamic that they have is very unique and entitling, but it's one of my favorite things throughout the whole film, and in fact, my favorite thing of this movie. It's going about throughout the story, and you see the relationship growing between the two and how strong it can be. It's one of the great things about this, and I think within any one of these kind of king films that we do see, whether it takes in England, France, wherever it may say, when we go back to these period pieces, it's those loyal advisor relationships that I really attach onto, and I think Joel Edgerton is one of the best actors working today, and I think within this, we actually see that a lot within the gravitas that he brings to the role. Because this role could have easily been sidetracked, it could have just been there to have a loyal advisor, but Edgerton does more with the role than you would think. And of course, I did mention that Robert Pattinson is also in this movie, and he is eccentric, kind of weird, but phenomenal. Like, I didn't even notice that he was in the movie, and while he's not in it too much, and I think that's actually a big detriment to the movie, is that he should have been in it way more. He doesn't come in till about an hour and 15 minutes in. Then there's like only 40 minutes left. And it was a little weird on that part, because he technically is the villain of this whole movie. And I just wish that this film actually would have touched on his character a little bit more. Again, he's very eccentric and very different. But that's something that I love about Robert Pattinson, and why I think he's also one of the best actors working today. Of course, when it goes to Ben Mendelsohn, Thomas Mackenzie, and the other supporting cast, they're all fantastic as well. They don't get too much to do. This is really much a showcase for Timothée Chalamet and, of course, his advisor, Joel Edgerton. Besides the performances alone, I think one of the strongest things that I really appreciate about this movie was the direction that we got for a minute. This is a very brutal film, and it's epic even at the same grand scope that it's on. Watching it at home, while again, I would have rather seen it in the theaters because of the bleak cinematography that is excellent throughout this whole film. I was sitting there looking at some of the shots just going, my God, that's a beautiful shot. I'm not just saying it's beautiful because Timothée Chalamet had a couple of those amazing shots, but in general, it is in fantastic shots that are just shot around, and some of the zoom-ins that they decided to use kind of like on the nose, but perfect for the scenario that they were in. The heart of the characters actually all plays into this bleak cinematography in this bleak world that is portrayed to us. That brutality and epicness all ensues all around that really brings you into the story and makes you feel like you're transported back into this time period. Just those choices alone actually elevated the film more than it just could have been. When it comes down to cons though, this is where I can say is that this film, while 2 hours and 30 minutes, it does have a slow burn. I didn't mind the slow burn. Some people will not love the slow pace of this film towards kind of the front end and as it's building up to the finale. While I appreciated it, I do want to mention it, and I actually do think that there are certain moments that this film could have even elevated a little bit more on, which was my one problem with Outlaw King last year, and it's kind of the same issue that I have with The King. While The King is better than The Outlaw King, the issue with this one time around, and again the same thing that I had with that one, is that it just feels rushed during certain relationships and certain moments. While they tackled certain moments very well in this film, and like I said, I love the relationship they had with Joel Edgerton, there was other elements that just, they didn't touch much on, which is some of his family elements. And I felt like a lot of that was missing. And I feel like if this was a miniseries, this could have been stronger by the end of the day, and we could have gotten even more bombastic performances and a more dynamic character range with these characters. Before I give you guys my final thoughts on The King, make sure again to hit that like and subscribe button so you guys never miss out on any early movie reviews. And again, guys, comment down below and let me know what your guys' thoughts are on The King. Did you guys like it? Did you hate it? Are you looking forward to it? Let's discuss it down below. And a big shout out to Sandwich on Films as well. I'm a part of them. If you guys want to check out movies early, make sure to go down below and check them out. A big thank you to you for clicking on this video, and of course, a big thank you to all my Patreon supporters, because without them, I wouldn't be able to do this. King is brutal, but very epic. It might have a slow burn all the way up, but the slow burn pays off by the end. And personally for me, while I would have liked to have been in this world just a bit more, interacted with some of the characters, and actually explored a couple different relationships, I can't deny that Chalamet is incredible. Edgerton is fantastic and gives one of my favorite supporting performances this year. Plus, Pattinson is eccentric, is great as well. This is a big showcase for all these actors. They're great. The direction is pretty good. And when it comes down to the bleak cinematography and the way that it intersects you into this world, it turns out to be one of the most surprising films of this year. I'm glad to see that this is better than The Outlaw King, and I really wish I could have seen this in a theaters, which is again one of the things that I'm really thankful that I'm going to be able to see The Irishman theaters, because that's another one of those films that I want to see it in a theater, not at home, where so many different distractions can come about. For me though, this is what Netflix does best. They support the directors, they support these actors, and they let them make what they want. I wish it would have touched on a different couple elements of the story. I'm fine with what they touched on. I enjoyed this film, and I think you will as well. If this is your cup of tea, you're going to enjoy it. So with all that said, I'm going to give The King a B+. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are on The King. Did you guys like it? Did you hate it? Let's discuss it down below in the comments, guys. Thank you guys again so much for watching this. You guys are seriously all the best. And of course, until next time, stay classy.